Well, I want to very quickly go through the constructive rest thing, because I want to get to another direction today if we can. So you have the roller, you have the collection of books. You don't need to show them to me because you're going to do all this with your husband's going to be the guy that gets down on the ground and looks
Okay.
at the back of your neck. You rest your head on the books. And if you feel around the back of your head, you can feel a little bump. You might want to can you feel there's a
Yeah.
little, that's the occiput. And that's what should be in contact with the books, the top book, that little,
So the bump that protrudes the farthest.
yeah, that should be in more or less the center of the top book. And you might also want to you're using paperbacks, have the spines on the side away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And start with maybe a couple of medium books. Oh, and well, either have your legs up on the couch the way we described, or feet flat on the ground, or the roller under your feet. It doesn't under your knees. And have your husband look at get a side view of your neck. And what we're looking for is a little going up away from you. Like that, a very light direction upwards.
Like a slight incline.
Slight incline away from your head, away from your body towards your,
Shoulders.
yeah.
So like if this is the floor, my body's here, but my head's on books, kind of like that.
Yeah, just like that, a little incline. So that's step number one. He'll see what there is. If it's a steep incline, take away
Take away a
the
book.
book, see what that is. Play around with different thicknesses. That's why you want to have different thickness books available. And when you get to a height that gives you that slight incline, then at that point, the next question you need to ask yourself while he's still in the room, am I feeling any pressure in my throat lying down that way? And if the answer is no, and if it feels comfortable, that's your height, at least for now. If, on
Okay.
the other hand, you are feeling a little pressure here, then rearrange it so that instead of a slight incline, it's absolutely flat, parallel to the floor. And
Got
that
it.
should take care of the pressure on your throat.
Okay.
You don't want to be
I
feeling anything pushing or squeezing here, especially you don't
got
want
it.
to feel that given your history. So,
No.
and again, you can always, once the books are in place, you can reach around and just feel, oh, is my bump kind of in the middle, more or less? And you can put the books there, but you'll be able to put the books there yourself. And for the first few days or so, maybe a week, it would be really good just to be in that position doing nothing. You might want to remind yourself there is nothing I need to do to be here. That all parts of me are supported by something. Just as a little
Okay.
reminder, because what we're wanting to do here a little bit, you might say, is recalibrate what zero effort means. Most of us, when we think we're doing Alexander's great quote, people, when they think they're not doing anything, they are doing stuff. And when they think they're doing it, they're overdoing it. We tend to have our mental, a kind of a thermometer that's set wrong. It has 0
Mm-hmm.
degrees in the wrong place. So just a little reminder, don't make any big deal of it. Don't try to
Okay.
do anything to make anything happen. And
Okay.
if something does happen that seems nice, just let it happen and don't try to help it. No help,
Okay.
no doing. I'm just here. If you can get 15 or 20 minutes in a day, that would be great. If you have to
Wow.
break it up, that's okay. But it's good to have a longer time, at least 12 minutes for the effects to really take place.
So you're saying I'm going to go down into constructive rest position
Yep.
and do nothing
Yep.
for up to 20 minutes.
Well, you might if that is if that's too much because you cannot deal with spending 20 minutes doing nothing, then be nice to yourself and say, well, could I deal with 15?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Robert, you know that doing too much is my thing.
Well, it's exactly why this is a particularly good
Okay.
little project for you. And
Okay.
honestly,
Okay.
if what you find is that after 5 minutes you're going bonkers, fine. The next time make it six or work up to it if that's necessary.
Okay.
Don't put
Okay.
yourself in a situation where, oh my God, I can't stand being here, blah, blah, blah. You know, you don't want to be even thinking thoughts like that. You want to just let
Okay.
your mind go wander. You can have some music on if you want. Try not to be in a situation where you won't be disturbed.
Okay.
Um, and that's really all that I think you should do to start.
Okay. Can you
Yes,
say that again? Try not to be in a situation where I will be disturbed or wouldn't be
but you
disturbed.
try not to be in a situation where someone will come in and have wins dinner or something like that.
Mom, mom.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I would also say that if one or more of your kids is observing you doing this and they're curious, set them up the same thing themselves. Now, one thing that I think would be a very useful thing to do just in general is pick a day when you can, as late in the day as possible, maybe just before going to bed, get your husband to measure your height. So on a doorpost or something, like we do with kids, do it with yourself. And then if you can have exactly the same kind of socks on or bare feet, first thing in the morning, as early as possible in the morning, have him also make a mark for that. A little pencil mark, maybe.
So we're marking how high I am on the door at night and again in the
And
morning.
right. And what you're going to find is you're going to be significantly taller in the morning than at night.
What?
Yeah, the world is divided into two groups of people. One group for whom they always knew this because their parents told them. I happen to be in that group for some reason. And the other group, no one's ever said anything about this. But that is how it works. Your spine decompresses at night. Uh, Lying down, even just sleeping, kind of lying down, does take pressure off of those little discs between your vertebrae. And they're like sponges. And when pressure is taken off, they absorb fluid from your body. And then during the day, they're getting pounded, and the fluid is pushed out. So it could be a lot or it could be a little. It's often around half an inch, but it might be more than that, or it might be a little less. But the reason for marking it is that over time, it's possible that, and I would say the morning height is kind of the true site, the true version. You might
Mm,
find over time that the morning one gets a little higher with Alexander lessons. So constructive rest is just like sleep, but in terms of decompressing your spine, it's like sleeping, but on steroids. It's even more
okay.
pressure off your spine. Having the elevation of your knees and the support under your head takes as much compression off your spine as is possible in a normal setting in the
Okay.
world. You could go into outer space and get decompressed more. You could get put in a giant centrifuge that spun at some astonishing speed, and you could get a little more. You might even be able to get a little more floating on water on a board, maybe. But in terms of just day-to-day existence, constructive rest takes as much off
Wow.
as you can get.
I have a question about where my headspace should should be during constructive rest. So, is this just as much mental rest from outside sources? For example, like you said, play some music, but like if I play the soundtrack to the musical I'm directing this year, I'm going to start blocking it in my
Oh,
head and
don't use that
choreographing
music.
it. And
Don't use that music.
but like, see, that's where
Don't use
my
any
instinct
music if
is.
you don't want. But if
I
you're going to use music, just use something that's just sort of in the background and play.
disconnected. Okay.
Yeah.
So because I could see myself thinking, well, I'm going to lay here in constructive rest so that my body relaxes, but at the same time, I'm going to be rehearsing in my head.
Okay, we don't want that. We don't want that.
Okay. And then like TV in the background, if
It'd
my
be best
husband's watching a
if you
show and I
if you could be in a quiet room, that would be the best.
quiet room.
Yeah.
Okay. So it really needs to be like 15 to 20 minutes of like nothing distracting my mind. If my mind
Your
floats, it
mind may,
floats,
who
but
knows where your mind's going to go. We can't, you
uh-huh.
don't want to be fighting it, but you just don't want anything, you want to minimize you having to think about other things in your day. Or, thoughts may come to you. You may remember, oh, I do have to get this thing out of the refrigerator soon or whatever. And that's no problem, but you don't want to be, you definitely don't want to be thinking about any serious stuff, if at all
Okay.
possible. Just be
Okay.
there and enjoy it. A lot of people find it quite a pleasant thing to do. And you could do it whenever you feel like. It could be in the morning or the evening, it doesn't really matter. Just choose a time and place that works for you. And don't make a big deal about it. Don't worry about the details. Just put yourself there